Before we begin, if you enjoy stories that judge people for the wrong reasons, subscribe to Readish and leave a like. Now, settle in. For the next 8 minutes, everything will be taken far too seriously.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to take your source material, and today it's a really pretty out there piece of classic literature and give you the shortcut to being well informed.
And maybe give you some life advice you should definitely not take.
Right. Today we are strapping in for a wild ride, far away from, the polished Jane Austen you might be used to. We're diving into her early work, love and friendship, and specifically the melodrama of Letter the 14th.
Exactly. This is Austen before she got subtle. Our narrator, Laura, has her feelings turned up to 11 at all times.
So our mission here is to navigate her very specific, very rigid rules of what she calls sensibility.
Yeah, and that's basically the set of moral and, well, physical standards she uses to judge every single person she meets.
And that context is everything for you, the listener. This letter is supposed to be this great tragedy, but the real insight comes from what Laura thinks is important.
It's a whole hierarchy of misfortune. She thinks she's the victim of, the greatest tragedies imaginable, but what she obsesses over is often, well, it's trivial.
Okay, let's just dive right in because the scale is completely off from the very first paragraph.
It is.
Laura starts this story by telling her friend to brace herself, saying that the previous deaths she'd endured, her father, her mother, and her husband,
Right.
were all trifles in comparison to the catastrophe she's about to share.
Trifles? I mean, if losing your entire immediate family is just background noise, what on earth could be a real crisis in her world?
So what is it? What is this big misfortune?
It's the death of her best friend, her companion, Sophia.
Okay, a close friend dying, that is tragic. But the cause of death is where it gets so uniquely Austen. It wasn't some, sweeping illness or an accident.
No. Sophia caught a fatal cold, and she blames it entirely on her continued faintings in the open air as the dew was falling.
So she fainted dramatically outdoors, got a bit damp, and that was it for her.
That was it. But Laura, of course, has this perfectly self-serving explanation for why she, the better friend, survived the exact same evening.
Of course she does.
She argues that her own repeated fits of frenzy had so effectively circulated and warmed my blood that they made her proof against the chilling damps of night.
A fit of frenzy. So being frantic and active is like a defense mechanism.
Exactly. Sophia was just lying there, totally inactive, so she succumbed. It's this wild contrast. Active madness means health, but passive fainting means death.
Wow.
And this cold turns into a galloping consumption, and she's gone in a few days. Laura's only comfort is, performing the perfect grief. She weeps over her, bathes her face in tears, holds her hands. It's all about the performance.
Which brings us to the most interesting part. Right before she dies, Sophia gives Laura some final advice. You're expecting something profound, right?
Yeah.
Something about life or love.
You are. But what she actually says is, take warning from my unhappy end and avoid the imprudent conduct which has occasioned it.
Okay. And that imprudent conduct is?
Beware of swoons, dear Laura. That's the core lesson. She says, one single fatal swoon has cost me my life.
Wait, so her deathbed takeaway is a medical warning against fainting.
That's it. She even compares it to Laura's behavior. She says a frenzy fit is not 1/4 so pernicious because it's good exercise for the body and conducive to health.
So her last words on earth are?
Run mad as often as you choose. Do not faint.
That is incredible. The practical application of madness as, what, cardio?
Pretty much. And that tells you everything about the literary standard she's upholding. True feeling isn't about being delicate or passive. It has to be loud. It has to be active. Fainting is a failure.
I love that. So Sophia dies, Laura gets this bizarre health tip, and then she just leaves.
Immediately. She leaves the detested village that same night, gets on a stagecoach, heading to Edinburgh to find a friend.
And the scene just shifts. It's dark, it's crowded, she can't see anyone.
And she's lost in her, sad reflections, but the silence is broken by one thing.
The loud and repeated snores of one of the party.
And this is where Laura's mind just goes into overdrive. Her moral condemnation based on just this one sound it's instant.
So what does she think of this person, based only on the fact that he's snoring?
She concludes he must be an illiterate villain, someone with a total want of delicate refinement.
An illiterate villain. That's a bit of a leap.
Oh, she's not done. She then decides he must, I am certain, be capable of every bad action. There is no crime too black for such a character.
Wow. So, in Laura's world, Snoring isn't just rude, it's a sign of, like, profound evil.
It's proof of moral corruption, absolutely.
So she sits there all night, convinced she's sharing a coach with some kind of monster. Then dawn breaks.
And we get the big reveal. The snorer, the unprincipled scoundrel, is none other than Sir Edward,
Her deceased husband's father.
her father-in-law. And she realizes she's surrounded by all her estranged family.
The whole family is just crammed into this one coach.
The whole family, Augusta, her sister-in-law, and Lady Dorotha are inside with her. Philippa and her husband are on the coach box driving. And then, for good measure, 2 other relatives are in the basket.
In the luggage area.
In the luggage area, yeah.
Yeah.
Philander and Gustavus.
It's an absurd family reunion. How does she react?
Well, she throws herself across Lady Dorotha, calls Augusta a cold and insensible nymph, and accuses her of glorying in her inheritance now that her brother is dead.
A warm welcome, then.
Very. But despite all that, they press her to tell her story, so she recounts every single misfortune.
And what's their reaction?
Well, her mother's reaction is the most telling. She shows pity and surprise, but Austen makes a point of saying that surprise infinitely predominated.
So her mom was more shocked by the crazy story than, sad for her daughter.
Exactly. And then she even pretended to find fault with Laura's behavior in a few situations.
And how does Laura take that criticism?
Oh, she just dismisses it. She says she was sensible myself, that I had always behaved in a manner which reflected the honor of my feelings and refinement. She basically can't even conceive that she could have done anything wrong.
Of course not.
Yeah.
So why are they all in this ridiculously crowded stagecoach in the first place?
That's the next question. Augusta explains that she was inspired by a book, Gilpin's Tour of the Highlands, and wanted to see the beauties of nature, so they were using the coach for day trips.
But why this coach?
Well, that's Philippa's story. Her husband spent all her money, and the only thing he was good at was driving. So he converted their personal coach into a public stagecoach to make a living.
And Philippa just goes along with this.
She does. She still has affection for him. And this brings us back to Sir Edward, the snorer.
The villain.
The supposed villain. Augusta explains that Sir Edward is only traveling in their coach to throw a little money into their pockets. He's trying to help them out. He'd much rather be in a more comfortable carriage.
So he's actually doing a kind, charitable thing, just discreetly.
Yes. But Laura hears this, and she secretly blames Sir Edward for sacrificing his daughter's pleasure just to help out his relatives.
Unbelievable.
And this act becomes the final proof for her. She concludes he's a man who possessed not the smallest atom of sensibility. And she reminds us of his one essential, unforgivable flaw.
Let me guess.
He actually snored.
That's it. That's the ultimate sin. His lack of taste in travel, his practicality with money, it all comes back to the snoring. It's all the same character flaw.
Exactly. So what this deep dive really shows you is that Laura doesn't judge people on actual morality. She judges them on their level of sensibility.
And that's proven by, having frenzied fits, being fragile enough to faint, and being quiet when you sleep.
That's the code. Madness is good, fainting is fatal, and snoring is a capital offense.
Well, thank you for joining us on this very frenzied, very loud deep dive.
And here's a final thought for you. We might laugh at condemning someone for snoring today, but where do we see people making moral judgments based on equally, superficial things now? Think about judging someone for their social media or their taste in music or maybe how they dress. Is that just our modern version of condemning a man because he actually snored?